Welcome to NovelBot. This is the audiobook of Rebirth of a Genius. Creator Destroyer Chapter 91 to 100. That night Sam left the two lackeys he kidnapped at the same place where he left the lackey yesterday. Their states are same as the previous guy, but the brands on the backs are different. They are numbered 19 and 18. At this moment, Zeke isn't aware of it. After leaving Sam's mansion, he made himself busy with a task to make sure that he and his lackeys will enter the special branch. He hired people to spread the rumors about the news of two cities withdrawing from the special branch, and the rankings from top 21 to 40 will be awarded these positions. He plans to make the public believe this in order to force his father to make the decision. Even though his plans are going well, when the news about his two lackeys in half-dead situation made him even more frustrated. He didn't know why a rank 5 artisan is targeting his lackeys, and what his motives are. Sam did have motives and he is right track to achieve them. According to his normal style, Sam would just come to the city and use some tricks to deal with Zeke and his lackeys directly. He was able to deal with a great mage with his wits, and a novice isn't a big deal. But Sam has different goals. He just didn't want Zeke to experience some physical torture. Why did Zeke so arrogantly attack him in Falcon Cliff City and walk away without giving a flying fuck about confidence? Because Zeke is arrogant due to his three main aspects. First one is he has a lot of lackeys who are willing to work for him, which gives him a sense of superiority that others should bow down to him. Second one, he has successful business which helps him get required resources, and gives him sense of superiority against poor people. Third one, and the most important aspect which made the first two aspects possible, is that his father is powerful and influential. Since Zeke wants to get into the special branch by hook or crook, he will let him. But before that, Sam intends to destroy the sense of superiority Zeke has and will show him how worthless these things could be. That is why Sam is doing things slowly. By attacking his lackeys, Sam will achieve two things. First one is, by making the lackeys suffer in this way, but still leaving them a chance to get back to their original shape, is to sow a seed of doubt in lackeys' hearts. Even though he crushed their bones and damaged their bodies, if a high-level healer takes action, they will get back to his original shape. But is the high-level healer so cheap to hire? Zeke will have to fork out hundreds of thousands of spirit stones if not millions to treat one person. Is he ready to take that much money out of his own pocket? Fat chance. From what he understood, Zeke is a selfish and ambitious brat. He would rather discard his injured lackeys and take in new people. But this will decrease the loyalty of other lackeys towards him. Second result he achieved is the unrest in public. Sam's actions were a form of revenge, but this news is only known by a very few people, and they aren't sure of what sort of grudge this is. For the remaining public, they felt a sense of danger. Because, for all they know, these three people are from Commoner's Own and they are attacked. They don't know the reason or motive, and all they felt was they might also be in that position. Sam wanted to cause chaos in the city. The citizens' panic will surely get to the marquee. Even though this is World of Strong, the people are an important resource to maintain a kingdom. Even if they can suppress them by force, the people will just take different approach. They might not be able to retaliate, but they can just ignore them. They can just leave the country and migrate. They cannot tail all the people and stop them after all. That is why Sam is going to cause a panic in the citizens' hearts, and when the Marquis finds out that his eldest son is the cause of all this, he would love to see how he will react. He heard that Marquis is a righteous person, and he wants to see how far he can go to prove this point. The third aspect is the business, and Sam has already made plans regarding this. Next day, Sam came out of the mansion early and went to the Artisan Tower to meet with the tower head. After he said his purpose to the receptionist and the latter informed to the superiors, he was invited into a small meeting room. There he saw a beautiful woman in her late 20s with long wavy hair reaching her waist looking outside through the window. When he entered the room, she turned around with a mesmerized smile and spoke. "Hello, Artisan Sam. Nice to meet you. I am Chaya." She introduced herself as she extended her hand. Sam shook her hands, and both got seated. "I actually wanted to meet you the other day when you took the assessment. But you seemed to be in a hurry and left immediately," she said before Sam could speak. "Oh, I had really important things to deal with. I know. Your actions are quite well known among public," she said with a smile. Sam didn't reply or feel offended. He knew that this news won't escape the big shots. By now, even the Marquis might have learned about this matter. "I have something to discuss with you," Sam said, completely ignoring the statement. "Please, tell me." "I am listening." "I want to make a business deal with the Artisan Tower," Sam said without a change in expression. But Chaya thought that she heard something wrong. The Artisan Tower is a huge entity, and they have deals with a lot of noble families, in supplying them with ores for weaponry and some other channels. Their scale of deals isn't small at all. Even if Sam is a genius, he shouldn't have enough money to make a deal with Artisan Tower. After all, just earlier this morning she got the report of investigation on other party, and he is an orphan. But she didn't say anything and asked, What kind of deal are we talking about? Chaya asked. I want to open a weapon store in cooperation with the Artisan Tower. Artisan Sam, even though artisans of the tower accept requests on some custom-made weapons, and we do sell the weapons here, we never cooperated with other people. Chaya said. After all, the focus of the Artisan Tower is still grooming artisans. The businesses are only for getting the necessary resources. So, the higher-ups don't care much, as long as they have enough resources to self-sustain. Artisan Chaya, even though you think that your business is sufficient, don't you need to think about the younger generation artisans? They're being trained and groomed by the Artisan Towers, and are being recruited away by other families and rich people. Why do you think they are leaving the Artisan Tower easily? Sam paused, speaking up to this point. Chaya didn't answer. She knew the reason, but too ashamed to accept it. It is because the artisans who work in the tower won't make much money. If they were to work in a noble family, they will be treated well and also get a lot benefits. But in the Artisan Towers, they have to compete with the rest of the artisans for the projects, and they cannot get the special benefits they will get when they work for the families directly. Seeing her expression, Sam continued. I think both of us know the answers. If you cooperate with me, you can stop these artisans from leaving the tower. How is it possible? No matter how big your shop is, there are a lot of noble families who do business in the city. The competition is too high. Even if we use the name of Artisan Tower, they might just buy the products from the normal shops, because their families aren't any less influential. And the products are same, and they have a very solid foundations in business. Artisan Chaya, take a look at this. Sam said as he placed the arm guard he used for assessment on the table. Chaya started checking the details. The arm guard has a very fine craftsmanship. After checking all the details, she finally stopped at the energy cell. When she scanned it with spiritual sense, she could feel the highly compressed spiritual energy in it. Sam made the cell with normal spirit stones. So, it is pure form of spiritual energy. It has 8 core, but energy stored inside is almost an energy of 10 spirit stones. Chaya tried to pick the energy cell and rotated it in its position. It is circular in shape, and when rotated, it made a click sounds as it came out of the arm guard leaving a socket. She observed the metallic protrusions under the cell which are responsible for holding the energy cell in place. She fixed it back and wore the arm guard to test it. Don't use your own spiritual energy. Try to use the energy inside it to make an attack. Sam said to her. She nodded her head and stood up and walked to the window. From the window, she aimed the hand which was the arm guard towards a tree in the yard, and tried to use the energy inside the cell to launch a fireball. The attack worked, just like normal. She didn't find much difference from using the energy from her spiritual core in the energy cell. You can also cultivate with the energy. Sam said, and she tried. When she felt that the energy is purer than a normal spirit stone and the extraction of energy is also easy, she couldn't help but feel surprised. This isn't because it's beneficial for cultivating. But this can be an important gadget when injured in a battle or some emergency battle situations. This can even save one's life. If a person exhausted all his spiritual energy, he will be very vulnerable in wild or battlefield, and he can't concentrate to absorb the energy from the spiritual stones efficiently. But this cell makes it easier for them, and they can use this energy to escape. This is my invention which gave me the rank 5 scholar artisan title. Sam interrupted her train of thoughts, and when he got her attention he said, Do you think this has a commercial value? Sam asked. Both Sam and Chaya are sitting at the table across each other. Artisan Chaya, how much do you think my invention is worth? Chaya went silent for a minute and said, It is no problem to sell it for 5,000 spirit stones. But if you can increase the amount of energy stored and some other modifications, we can even sell it for more. As soon as Chaya spoke, Sam took out another arm guard. This arm guard is a bit different. The energy cell isn't circular in color. There are 2 red bright cells in cuboidal shape, which are inserted along the length of the arm guard. When Chaya saw this, she was even more dumbfounded. She didn't think that he could even use the elemental energy. Artisan Sam, how many designs do you have and what type of elements can you provide? She's down to get this business. If she could partner with Sam and use this special product as main product of the store and sell it, the rest of the products will also easily be sold, without any problem. The publicity itself is enough to make their business success. Right now, I can only make 2 types of elemental energies. Fire and wind. Other than that, I can only make the neutral ones. As for energy capacity and shape, we can talk about that later. Right now, we will only produce the 2 types you have seen. These 2 are enough. The elemental ones can be sold for more than 5 times the price. She is very enthusiastic. Since you are okay with it, can we discuss other products? These are the only ideas I have. As Sam said that he took out a bunch of scrolls from his storage. Chaya immediately got excited and started listening to Sam. After more than 3 hours they finally discussed all types of special products Sam wanted to place in the shop. There will be different sections in the shop. We will be letting the customers look at the products themselves and decide to what they want to buy. Your artisans will produce their own products and will place them according to the sections. The sections will be like archery section, sword section, saber section, spear section, armor section. If you want, you can even use the other products from tailor artisans and others. The normal products will have a large stock, but the smaller amounts will have a limited stock. The energy cell products will be sold only once a week, and the number of products will be limited. So, can we talk about the dividends? Sam said as he looked at Chaya. You can tell me your requirements. If it is okay with me, I will not object it. I will be responsible for buying the place, and I will provide the products with the energy cells and special products I told you about. All I need is some assistance. You are responsible for providing the materials required. You are responsible for the production of the normal weapons. You can take all the revenue from your weapons and I won't interfere. For my products I will give you 20% of the revenue. Chaya went into deep contemplation. They are responsible for providing raw materials, and they can do that because their supply channels are high and can really do so. Even though the forging process will be taxing in Sam due to his special products. But 20% still seem to be a bit low. Artisan Sam, don't you think that 20% is a bit low? Artisan Chaya, do you know why I am even giving you 20%? Because of the status of Artisan Tower. The Artisan Tower can have a lot of say in weapon business. But you couldn't make it a success. Why do you think this is happening? Because you have been too conservative. The Artisan Tower didn't focus on the business at all. Their main income is still the ore supply, and the fee you get from the tests and tuition fee you get from the candidates. You focus too much on these things and neglect the business, and fail to think of making profits from it. And your business location is within the Artisan Tower. You think that normal people will dare to come to the tower to buy weapons. Your production volume isn't much less compared to the other shops, but your tower portrays that someone of status can only approach it. And you also think that it is beneath you to reach out like other family shops to sell your products. But now, I am going to use your Artisan Tower status to increase the market value. That is why I agreed to give you 20%. The most important thing is, I am only using cheapest of materials. Even though my products cost a lot, they will only be using materials of rank 1 and rank 2, and that too very cheap one. After all, my products are mostly consumables. So, if the production is maintained properly and demand is met, the revenue will be quite high. 20% will be a lot higher than the cost of materials you are providing. Sam explained in detail without giving Chaya any chance to retort or argue. She could only sigh and agree. This opportunity is too good to reject. They shook hands in agreement, and Sam took out some scrolls and passed it to her. I will be working on getting the shop ready. For proper production, I need this equipment ready. Even though most of the figures don't make any sense to you, don't think too much and make them according to the requirements that I mentioned on the scroll. Sam said as he placed a storage ring on the table. He said his farewells and went out of the tower. His first step to set his business successfully is completed. One could ask why Sam is doing this just to get back at a small fry like Zeke. His main target isn't just taking down Zeke, rather, he wants to make an example out of Zeke. Since came to this world, many people have provoked him time and again. Now, he must spend a long time in this marquee city. He doesn't wish to be disturbed by these guys when he stays here. So, he came a month earlier and make a declaration that he isn't a soft permission. Sam floated on his hoverboard as he went to the business zone. He stopped at Zeke's weapons store. He observed the surroundings and saw that the area is full of weapon stores, but the business of the other stores isn't good at all. Zeke's shop stole the major part of the business. The title of Marquis's son isn't just for show. Sam walked to the store opposite to the Zeke store. The store's manager was ecstatic when he saw Sam coming to the store. This is the first customer in a long time. Welcome, welcome. How may I help you? The shop owner asked as soon as he entered the store. I want to buy something. Sam said. Oh, what do you want to buy? Your store. The shop owner was dumbfounded. He didn't expect that the person is here to buy the store instead of the products. Looking at the silent shop owner, Sam asked, 100,000 spirit stones. I want your store. When Sam finished saying, the store came out of his daze and said, deal. Sam suddenly felt that he spent too much. The shop owner was so happy. After Zeke started his business, he is already making losses. Every shop except the ones that belong to the noble families. He tried to sell his store and leave the city. But nobody is willing to buy his store, and 100,000 is a significant amount, and will let him start his own business in other city, or he can just start doing another business in the city itself. Sam finished dealing with the deed and went to the next shop. And the next stop. After buying off the 4 shops, he started thinking of how to renovate this place. After some thought, he took out his communication token and called Chaya. They exchanged the contact info. Sam, what do you want? I already assigned someone to finish the designs you gave me. I want to ask, does your tower have architect artisans? Of course. We have 3 of them. Even though this profession isn't very popular here, we still have it in our tower. Okay, I need them for a project. Send them to Zeke's shop. I have my board with me, they can recognize me easily. After hanging up, Sam waited there, and after 15 minutes the 3 artisan architects came. Sam greeted them and started explaining on how to renovate the 3 stores. First thing they must do is that they must remove the divisions in between the stores and combine them. After explaining everything, he paid in advance to the 3 of them and went back to his mansion. Meanwhile, the Marquis is having a headache. When he came to know the rumors that Zeke has started, he didn't know how to react. For some reason, all to know that the info is from Zeke himself. Now, he clearly understood that his son was responsible for the withdrawal of the 2 cities. Before he could go and confront his son about this, he heard another thing. The new rank 5 artisan is making a commotion in the city. Particularly, he is targeting his eldest son. But the public doesn't know about this and are panicking. They're getting an impression that the new artisan is a psychopath who likes torturing people. He wanted to meet the new artisan directly on the day of his arrival itself. But he couldn't due to the arrangements for special branch. But his idiot son seemed to have offended the artisan. When he is thinking on how to salvage the situation and wanted to get more information from Zeke, his first wife, Zeke's mother, already came to him demanding an explanation. She is demanding him to investigate and talk to the rank 5 artisan, and demanded an explanation from him on why he is targeting her son. Are you going to do it or not? Zara, Zeke's mother, is shouting at Marquis. Due to constant pestering, he lost his cool and shouted back. Do you think that your son did something that can be solved easily? The other party is rank 5 artisan. Do you think that he is so free and has a lot of time to waste on your son? I need to investigate it properly and know what has happened before deciding what to do. Until then, don't you dare pester me. After saying his piece, Marquis left the room. He already sent someone to investigate who this artisan is, and why is he doing this. Sam went back to the mansion and entered the divine dimension after he assigned the task of renovation. He needs to open another business too. He looked at all the crystal bamboo plants which he planted in various elemental zones. The next business he wanted to enter was the alcohol business. He planned to enter this business even before his encounter with Zeke. Now that he has one more reason, and that is to counter Zeke's restaurants, he is thinking of making a completely large scale. Sam checked on all the herbs he planted. They are completely mature by now. These herbs are the ones he bought in Falcon Cliff City. He planted all the live herbs to get the stock himself. But now he is thinking on how to proceed in preparing the liquor. He can prepare it with the herbs if he wants to. All the herbs he has are mostly the ones which will help a person to purify his body and reduce the impurities which will impact the cultivation. They are the ones which will act as elixirs and help them raise the cultivation. But he is a little worried about the taste and thought that he should need use some fruits to make the liquor. But finding the fruits suitable for cultivation aren't easy to find at all. So, he must think of the issue later, but opening a restaurant isn't that difficult. He went to the first floor library and went to a corner section. This is a section named elixirs, and this included pill recipes, potion recipes, etc. This doesn't include the techniques and fundamentals of these processes, but it only contains pure recipes, and the actions to be performed to make the elixir, and at the corner of the section, there is a divine will called Spirit Culinary. Sam took in the information to go through the recipes of various dishes which uses meat of various types of magical beasts and spiritual herbs. This Spirit Culinary is a way to make the required elixirs and cultivation through cooking. This is also more efficient than other ways like pills and potions, which might have some side effects. The risks are minimum with Spirit Culinary. After all, a human being's health is best when it was managed by diet instead of medicines. Just like in modern world, if a person takes heavy medicine for every small ailment, his bodily functions will be damaged. Sam only came out of the tower at noon. He spent a lot of time just to digest the recipes. If he wants to practice it, he will have to spend a lot of time. Even though he is good at learning, things like cooking are the skills which are honed with practice. He isn't an exception. At the same time, Marquis is in his courtroom. He just finished his morning meeting with the officials, and everyone just left. An attendant came and gave him a scroll containing the info on Sam. Even though the Falcon Cliff City and Blue Flame City are far from each other, he still has ways to get in contact with the Count Falcon. And he found that Sam is from the Falcon Cliff City. Because Sam intentionally concealed his tracks. He left a big clue to investigate, and that is buying the mansion, as well as using the Golden Horse Trading Company. So, Marquis easily got the info, and when he looked at this, he was quite surprised. A 15-year-old boy, at novice level 1 and well-versed in multiple professions, with a battle prowess off the charts. He is a genius. That is the only thing that came to his mind. After reading the info, he only felt even more anger towards his eldest son. He still didn't know what his son did to this genius to be offended to this extent. Yes, he still doesn't know even after contacting the Count because the latter didn't reveal Zeke's attack on the candidates to the Marquis. He doesn't want to get himself involved in between the father and son. Marquis opened another scroll which has info of Sam when he was still in Starwood City. When he saw the details about how he took revenge on the noble families by destroying the younger generation's chances of entering the academy, he felt even surprised. This 15-year-old genius is quite vengeful. And when he saw the news that he is orphan, he felt that he could get to stop Sam from his revenge. After all, if the other party has a powerful background, he must think twice. But now that the other party is an orphan, who only entered the cultivation world recently, he can use some carrot and stick strategies to get him to stop. As for how the other party learned all his skills, he isn't very curious about it. There are all kinds of people in the world, and a very high-level genius who can learn on his own might be rare but isn't impossible. So, he immediately sent an invitation to Sam. When Sam received this invitation, he was just about to go out and buy some restaurants to get a place to start his business. Watt brought the invitation over to him, and when Sam saw that it was from Marquis himself, he smiled. Even though he knew that Marquis will find him, but he didn't that it would be this early. The invitation stated that he is invited for dinner. Sam could guess what the Marquis is planning. Even though he is a rank 5 artisan. He is a scholar artisan who is mostly important to the Artisan Association, and his cultivation is still far from Marquis. Marquis cannot offend him, but he also didn't have to curry his favor. Sam smiled in a ment and sent back the message that he accepted the invitation, but he also mentioned that he would be bringing a friend. After sending the messenger away, Sam went on his way. After buying the 2 restaurants in front of Zeke's restaurant, he went to his new bought weapon shops, where the 3 architects are working. He took one of them back to the restaurants and explained him on how he wanted them to be renovated. After explaining them everything and was done with his work, he went to the Artisan Tower. He went to meet Chaya, and when she saw him, she felt quite surprised. "Didn't we just meet in the morning? Why are you here again?" she asked. "I need your help with something." "Oh, what is it?" "I am invited by Marquis to dinner. I want you to come with me." "Why is he inviting you and why are you inviting me?" "Well, I am targeting that Zeke for a reason, so the Marquis wants to have a chat with me. Even though I am someone of status, I have no considerable background to speak of. My power isn't enough to make him cautious yet. So, I want to use our business relationship as a deterrent to him." "Sure, when?" Chai replied after some thought. She clearly understood what Sam meant. "Now. We will be leaving in an hour. You can take care of your work in this time." Chai nodded and went back to work while Sam waited for her. Later that evening, Sam and Chaya went to the Marquis mansion on her personal carriage. When the attendant who was assigned to receive Sam saw Chaya coming along with Sam, he immediately got tensed. Even though he is an attendant, but he is still a confidant of the Marquis. He clearly knew what Marquis' intention for inviting Sam is today, but never did they expect that the friend Sam mentioned would be Chaya, the rank 5 artisan, and the tower head of the Artisan Tower. She isn't like Sam who has only rank but no cultivation, but she is someone who not only has a rank but also relevant cultivation. Sam and Chaya were led to the dining room where Marquis was already waiting for them. Even though he wants to suppress Sam a bit, he is doing this only because of his son. He still has respect for Sam and his achievements. But when he saw Chaya, he also felt stunned, but he quickly recovered and greeted them. After exchanging some pleasantries which are common whenever this kind of meetings occur, an author is not interested in writing. They sat for the dinner, and the food was served. After some time, Marquis stopped beating around bush and asked, "Artisan Sam, I think that you and my son Zeke are having some problems. Are there some misunderstandings?" "Oh, Marquis indeed has great insight. You found out quite early. It has only been 2 days since I came to the city after all." Seeing that Sam directly agreed, Marquis felt that matter isn't that simple. It seemed as if Sam is anticipating this meeting. "May I know what happened between you guys? I would like it if your son explained it himself. You can call him now." "I don't mind." When Sam said this, Marquis frowned but still complied and sent someone to call his son over. When Zeke came, he didn't come alone. A middle-aged man came along with him, and Marquis frowned at that. The person who came is none other than the commander of the city guards. But he also has another identity. He is the brother of his 3 wives and Zeke's uncle. Both took the seat, and the guard commander spoke. "He doesn't know who Chaya is and he didn't care at all. You are the new artisan. Just because you are an artisan, you cannot act as you like. Apologize to my nephew right now." He didn't notice that Zeke's expression turned ugly. Sam didn't reply and just looked at Marquis. "You can ask your son what happened. After hearing his piece, I will tell you the remaining story." Seeing that Sam ignored him, the commander got angry. Just as he was about to flare up, he felt the pressure from Marquis. Then the Marquis looked at his son. "Tell me what you did." I. Zeke stuttered. He really doesn't want his father to know all his dirty deeds. He never expected that the person he ambushed is an artisan, that too high-ranked one. I will tell you then. Sam then recounted everything that happened in the Falcon Cliff City and said, I heard the Marquis is a righteous person, but from what I see, you are no different from a father of a useless son. He can do whatever he wanted, and all you could do is cover it up using his authority. The rumors almost fooled me. Sam purposefully said this to provoke the Marquis. He wants to put the Marquis in a helpless situation where he can't take it out on Sam, and remind him that he is supposed to be the person who looks after the people, and not blindly side with his son. So, the Marquis will only have one outlet other than Zeke. And when the Marquis was reminded of how his son threatened the two cities from participating, he felt his anger reaching the limit. Sam looked at Marquis in a ment. His judgment is correct and everything is going on as planned. But there is another person who has a bad judgment, and that person is none other than the guard commander. He is a great warrior at late stage. He thought that Marquis was angry at Sam for spouting those ugly words, so he released his aura and was about to suppress Sam. But an even more powerful aura was descended on him, and he felt shocked when he saw where it is coming from. He looked at Chaya, who was casually sipping her drink, but he was being completely suppressed by her aura. Her strength even higher than the Marquis himself. Then only remembered something. Sam is an artisan, and there is only one person who is a young woman and powerful than the Marquis himself. The artisan Towerhead. Even though he didn't see her before, he clearly heard of her. Why didn't see her before? It is actually pretty simple. His status isn't enough. According to norm, Marquis is in one whole cultivation realm higher than the Count. He is a grand mage. And in every city, the tower heads of the various professions will be in same cultivation realms, and a grand mage can only be an artisan of rank 4. But why is a rank 5 artisan here? Because the Marquis isn't the strongest person here. The previous Marquis, the one who is the former Blue Flame, is in the next cultivation realm after the Grand Realm. The Marquis who broke through that stage will be retired, and next one will take the helm when he reaches the Grand Realm. The organizations of various professions send people who are on the same realm as the previous Marquis, not to be at a disadvantage, so even the current Marquis is of lower status than her. Chaya only has 4 more people who are equal to her in status, and they are the former Marquis and the 3 other tower heads. So, a lowly city guard commander isn't even worthy of her notice. She is here only because of Sam, and she has to show her stance. Marquis became FL.S-turd and immediately slapped the guard commander. At loss now. He said in a low voice, and the guard commander felt like he got a new lease on life. Marquis took a deep breath to calm down, and looked at Sam again. Artisan Sam, is there a peaceful way to resolve this? Marquis asked. Even though this will be him agreeing with Sam's statement, right now he wanted to get his son another chance. He believed that with this, his son will change for better, and which father wouldn't want that? He will try his best to get that chance, even if he has to get ridiculed by a youngster like Sam. There is. It is very simple. All you have to do is, just announce the whole matter to the people, and just tell them that you want to end this matter peacefully. If you make this announcement, I will immediately stop. Sam's voice is quite sarcastic. Marquis' face turned green. The request was impossible. It will make him lose trust of all his people. He finally understood how much of a big mistake he did when he closed an eye for his son's deeds. Not every time will be smooth sailing, sometimes it will cause disasters, and the disaster his son got now is now sitting right across him. Marquis, let me tell you something. Do you know why lions can be kings of the forest of ordinary beasts? Sam asked with a smile. Because they are strongest. Marquis said. You were only partially right. Lions are strong, but you really think that the lions are the strongest of all? Lions live in prides, but are they matched for a herd of bulls rushing madly? No. They are kings because they are trained that way. A lion will throw their cubs into a valley and let them climb on their own. Their father is teaching them that the respect as a lion has to be earned and not given, just because they are born from a lion. The rest of the animals in the forest might not want to teach them this harsh lesson, but the lion itself doesn't care. He will throw the cubs inside the valley, earning the title of the most ruthless beast in wild. But in my eyes, that lion is a responsible father who is teaching his sons. That is why the other animals respect him and revere him. When Sam finished his piece, Marquis was already feeling ashamed. He clearly understood what Sam meant by that. He is insulting him for being an incompetent father. Even a wild beast knows how to teach his son, but he is a human with the responsibility of a Marquis and thousands of people under him, can't even do his job. Just as he was about to say something, Sam started speaking. Your eldest son, Zeke, and I initially don't have any grudge, but he came with 20 people who have cultivation levels higher than me, and ambushed me when I am in my injured state. He even felt that it is all justified just because you were the one responsible for his birth. I am here today, not to make peace with you. But I am here to tell you that I will be paying back everything your son gave me. I am going to destroy everything that gave him confidence, that he can do anything to me and walk away. Regarding this, there is no way for me to compromise. I will achieve my goal even if the Marquis himself gets involved with this. Sam paused to see the reaction of Marquis. The dark expression on the latter's face satisfied him and continued. For now, only your son and his lackeys are my targets, and I will be playing with them. But if anyone else gets involved in this, for example, the city guards, then the entire troop of the city guards will be included. If one noble child like your son steps in, his whole family will be included. And he paused a bit and looked at Marquis straight in the eyes and said, if you get involved in this, the entire city will also be included. You won't want to harm the lives of all the citizens, will you? Sam asked as if he was speaking about something insignificant. The three remaining people were stunned. Sam is threatening the Marquis directly that he will take it out on the citizens if Marquis gets involved. A novice-level young man is threatening a Grand Realm Marquis in the Marquis mansion itself. But for some reason, they felt that the other party might really do what he said. Without waiting for the reply, Sam stood up and said, I will be waiting for your letter. If I don't get the letter by tomorrow, I will take that you want to get involved. He signaled to Chaya and both of them turned around and left the room. Marquis just sat there in deep thought. Beside him, Zeke didn't even dare to look at his father. Sam, don't you think you went overboard? You just threatened the Marquis in his own territory. Sam just chuckled and replied, this being his territory is his biggest disadvantage. I am a lone wolf now. I can do whatever I want as long as I don't get caught. If push comes to shove, I can just escape this place and come back later to take revenge. But he doesn't have that option. He has to answer the Emperor himself if he led his territory. Chaya thought for a moment and felt that what Sam said is right, but she still felt that Sam should tone down his attitude and said, I think with your attitude, you will the whole world your enemies. You should give some leeway and solve problems peacefully whenever possible. She advised him out of goodwill. But Sam's reply stunned her. I don't want any compromises in my life. No matter how big the enemy is, even if it is a single individual or the whole city, the whole empire or the whole world, the only difference to me is the amount of effort I need to spend to destroy them. She halted her footsteps and looked to Sam's back, who was walking ahead. She suddenly felt that Sam's form is towering over the world. How bold and arrogant a person should be to make a statement like that. After separating, Sam took out his hoverboard and went to the business zone. He stopped at Zeke's shop and looked at the closed doors. It is already night and most weapon shops will call it day by this time, only some restaurants will be opened. Sam took out a normal spirit stone. He closed his eyes and destabilized the spirit stone before throwing it into the shop through a window. He immediately increased the thrust of the hoverboard to maximum, and reached a height of 20 feet in the air, and went towards his mansion in full speed. Next day, the news of the explosion spread all over the city. The explosion is in Marquis' son's shop after all. This time, Marquis himself came to see what happened. The place of explosion is very peculiar. When he entered the shop, all he could see was a circular area in which everything turned into powder. The armors, swords, every other material was completely disintegrated into powder. The spiritual energy in the area is also still a bit unstable. He didn't even know what has caused the explosion, but he knew who did this. Sam is making a statement. If Sam was to use this method of explosion in between a group of people, the results will be disastrous. He immediately came to decision, and that is he will not interfere between his son and Sam. Unless Sam wants to kill his son, he would completely turn a blind eye. Zeke is also looking at the explosion area. He received a different message from the explosion, and that is, he shouldn't make any dirty moves to get one over Sam. If he did that, the other party can also do so, and the result is even more efficient for him. He can only play along the game Sam is playing and follow the rules set by the other party. He is now already regretting going after Sam. His lackeys are second-guessing about following him. His father also might not interfere, and now the business he built is also under attack. He suddenly felt so suffocated. Sam is in his mansion thinking about what to do next. Since he wants to open a restaurant, he must find a way to get a source of supply to get the ingredients, and along with it he also needs to find a suitable chef who is loyal as well as skilled to master the spirit culinary. But he isn't in a hurry. It is 4th day since he entered the Falcon Cliff City, and he have 25 days to make his plans. Not only will it help him to teach Zeke a lesson, the two business will also be a source of income for him. Even though he has enough money with him, he still wants to earn as much as he can by the time he entered the imperial capital. At that time, he would be facing the whole Blackwater organization, the Empire, and he need have enough wealth to go against a behemoth like that. And all these businesses are just some side income. The main income will still be the Black River branches themselves. Sam is still trying to separate the gases in the air, but his concentration is still not enough. And the light energy is also same. He has to have enough mental power to use it for any offensive purposes. For that, he must spend his time on cultivating the divine spirit soul technique. But before he could do that, there is something he has to do. He has to prepare some things for the business opening. His main focus is not on the weapons. He wants to make some gadgets which will help these people in the hunting. Chari mentioned that it will take almost 3 days to make the equipment, so he has 30 days inside the tower to make some preparations. He brought along the manual pressing machine that he had it made in the Falcon Cliff City. So, he can make some things that will make it easier to finish the gadgets later. Sam went out on his board. All the people just gave way to him without even daring to look him in the eye. By now, everyone knew that the new rank 5 scholar artisan who arrived in the city will travel on a weird board, and he is also a vicious guy as well. But Sam is in complete daze as he went into deep thought after he remembered something. He forgot to name the hoverboard. Even though he is good at many things, one of his major flaw is that he is very bad at naming. And so is author, so my dear readers, come up with a name please. He went to the pharmaceutical tower to buy some herbs, and all of them have one thing in common. They all have calming effects and mostly used in the pills to offset the side effects of aggressive nature. He even bought a type of sandalwood which is used in ointments to provide the relieving effects. Generally, these items' sales are very less and sometimes, the stock will be spoiled too. When Sam came here and bought all the available stock of these herbs, the reception is too happy. After that, he went to the inscription tower and bought the materials used for making the inscription ink. Finally, he went to Zeke's restaurant. Even though he has designs to steal the business of this restaurant, he should agree that this one is the best restaurant in the city for now. So, he ate a hearty meal, and after that he went to the manager room. Sam pinned his badge of tailor artisan, and greeted him. Not to alert them, he didn't use his board to come to the restaurant, so the new manager who isn't part of the 20 lackeys, didn't recognize Sam. "I want to buy the liquor from you." Sam came right to the point. The manager is courteous and didn't show any attitude. He gave the basic respect that should be given to the customer and asked, "Sir, if you want to buy less than a barrel, you don't have to consult me, as the counter will handle it directly. But if you want more than that, please tell me how much you want. I don't want any normal wines, but I want a strong pure liquor without any flavor. Is it possible to sell it?" Sam asked. Normally, we won't sell it. What you're asking isn't that suitable for drinking directly, so we don't prepare it in small quantities. How much do you want to buy?" "I need 10 barrels. Since the order is big, we will do this. But we will charge same as the flavored wine. Each barrel will be 5,000 spirit stones." "Sure." Sam agreed and immediately paid the full amount. "Sir, your order will be ready in 3 days. You can just bring this token to retrieve the order." The manager gave him a token. "I will be sending a subordinate." "Thank you so much." Sam took the token and left the restaurant. The manager is beaming with glee as he looked at the 50,000 spirit stones. He wants to show his achievement to Zeke to get some acknowledgement, but if he was to know that these 50,000 spirit stones were responsible for reducing their customers in the weapons shop, one should wonder Zeke's reaction. Sam went to his mansion and went into the second floor of the tower. Today, he wants to do one of the most boring things he has to do to make the gadgets. He has to practice etching. One of the most difficult skills in inscriptions. To perform this skill, he has to be master in 3 things. First one is inscription mastery, second one is painting, and the final one and the most important one is the energy control. If he could master this etching skill, he could make his shop success easily. He has confidence that he could use the inscriptions and inscribed formations in the most efficient way. So, for the next 30 days inside the tower, Sam only spent his time practicing etching. His painting skills might not be the top of the world in his previous life, but they are considered very high, and he was definitely a master of it. So, when he practiced the painting using the brush while infusing it with spiritual energy, he caught on to the feel pretty quick, and the 30 days felt well spent. But he wasn't able to reach a point where he can make complex inscribed rank 2 formations through etching. His skill is only enough to make the rank 1 inscriptions and formations, and some of less complex rank 2 inscriptions and formations. After the practice is done, Sam went outside of the tower and gave the token and his scholar artisan badge to Watt. "Go to Zeke's restaurant and show this token. They will give you 10 barrels of liquor, and then go to Artisan Tower and meet the tower head. Show her my badge and she will give some goods." Watt agreed and left the mansion. After that, Sam informed Chaya about Watt through the communication token, and told her that she should send some attendants who doesn't have much chance in advancing as artisans, along with a list of materials he needs to make the gadgets at the evening. He would use the day to assemble the components, and when the people from the Artisan Tower comes to him, he can give them the tasks to make the gadgets. He will use them to make all the components, and he and Watt will perform the final assemblies. After Watt came, Sam immediately took all the items to the divine dimension. First, he took out the 10 barrels of pure liquor. He took out the load of herbs which have calming and sleeping effects, and started getting their plant juices. These juices itself are enough to fill more than 3 barrels. The number of herbs he had are that much. He then started injecting the plant juices into the crystal bamboos, which are planted in various ohms along with the pure liquor, and let it ferment even more in the bamboo. Sam is doing this to let the bamboo add the spiritual energy of the respective zones to the liquor. With this level of concentrated calming herbs, the liquor would make one sleep if they took a swig of it. Sam spent more than inside the tower. After that he took the components that Chaya sent over and started assembling. There are 4 machines which Sam assembled. One of them is a pedaling grinding machine. There is a pedal, which will rotate a grinding wheel. The second machine is an extrusion machine which is used for making billets and rods of various shapes. The third machine is a punching machine. A machine which is used to cut specific shapes from sheet metals, but this time he also had the artisan tower to make different number of dies, which will provide various shapes. Fourth machine is a roller machine, which is same as used to make the sheet metals. But this one is made of highly heat-resistant metals, instead of the makeshift rollers used in the Falcon Cliff City. After assembling everything, Sam came out of the dimension. He went to the Boz.ement and placed all the machines there to make a workshop here. He included the pressing machine he made in the Falcon Cliff City, and some new dies. Everything was ready in the workshop. That day evening, 10 people who were way past the learning stage and still in the rank 1 artisan, came to his mansion and brought the materials. Most of the materials are precious ones. They are peak of the rank 1 and lowest level of rank 2 materials. Since most hunters will be at most novices, and they will only target the level 2 and level 3 beasts, and their most dangerous targets will still be peak of level 3. They can be damaged by the rank 2 weapons. Sam took the people to the Boz.ement and explained on how to operate the machines and what to do with them. The work started the very night and went on to the 10 days. Sam took the components made by the artisans every day and assembled them along with Watt. The only thing that is left for him to do is to finish the inscriptions on all of them, and he will be done with the products he needs to showcase in the shop for the opening, and also the stock for coming months. There is still 16 days left for the start of Special Branch. He wants to open the shop by the very next day. Sam entered the tower and started the etching on one component after another. Even though there is only 1 day for opening, he has 10 days which are more than enough to complete the task. And after the process is over, it is time for the shop opening. The next day, the opening of the shop. But the ceremony wasn't held at the shop, instead it was held in an open ground which is like a stadium. This is a place where the people in the city holds their ceremonies, tournaments, etc. The wide ground along with a stage in the middle, there are seats for large number of spectators. The venue and other arrangements are all done by Chaya. She even sent the invitations to all the big shot noble families, and even the marquis is here. They all sat in the VIP area. The ceremony was held in the stadium because they need a place to demonstrate the special product. There are some podiums which covered with cloth on the stage. Sam and Chaya are standing on the stage as they looked at the audience. After everyone was settled down, Chaya addressed the audience. Greetings everyone. I am the Artisan Tower head Chaya. I am very happy that all of you came here to show your support on the opening day of our shop. Today, I am pleased to announce to all of you that the Artisan Tower is cooperating with the rank 5 scholar Artisan Sam to open this shop. In this shop, not only will we be selling the quality weaponry made by the artisans of the Artisan Tower, but also the inventions of Artisan Sam, and now we are going to demonstrate the new products that are only available in our shop. After she finished her speech, she gestured to an attendant who took the cloth off of the first podium, under which a weird-looking metallic object was placed. This might be an unknown object to the audience here, but this is a very familiar to the hunters of the modern Earth. This is a foothold trap mostly used to catch wild animals in the modern world. The foothold trap is twice the size of the normal ones. An attendant came to the stage and explained. This is our first product, the foothold trap. The product is used to seize the moments of the beasts with a surprise attack. After saying his piece, the attendant took the trap into his hands and walked down the stage. The crowd was a bit confused when they looked at the weird metal piece. What could it be? How is this weird metal piece be used? Yeah, he said something like footholding trap. How can it even hold the feet of a beast? The crowd broke out into discussions. The foothold trap is extremely similar to the one from the Earth. The only difference is the base plate, which is used to place the trap on the floor. The circular base plate is a rotatable disc. The attendant rotated the disc and opened the metallic jaws of the trap completely. As soon as he did that, the trap disappeared from the NAKEDI. This is because, after rotating the disc, it activated a concealment formation which is etched on it. After that, some more attendants came and set the trap similarly. Then a cage was taken into the stadium in which there is a big tiger-type beast is struggling. It is similar to normal tiger, but the fur is brown in color with the black stripes, and there are 2 tails. This is twin-tailed earthen tiger. And it is now level 3 beast. The attendants opened the cage and left the place immediately. The tiger looked at the stage, and when it sensed the danger from Chaya, it didn't dare to move in that direction, and it didn't have balls to move towards the large crowd. The twin-tailed tiger has no choice but to move around the ground. But when it entered the trap zone, it laid its front foot on a trap, and immediately the jaws activated and pierced into the leg. Roar. The tiger roared in pain, the jaws of the trap completely pierced into his flesh. But the trap isn't strong enough to hold the tiger in place. The disc base in the spring broke, but the jaws didn't loosen up at all, and still stayed in the flesh. This is the major flaw. Sam left intentionally to make these traps as one-time consumables. The trap will be useless after the beast activated it. The beast wasn't able to move the foot, and when it limped, another rear limb struck in another trap. The crowd was stunned. They didn't expect the trap would produce this result. Basically, this is achieved because the animals of lower intelligence will depend on their 5 senses than their spiritual sense. That is the main reason the trap worked. Damn it, how come it worked? This weird thing is damn useful. Ha ha ha, I am going to buy 10 of them. My team is going to be rich. The crowd broke in uproar. Our second product, the common grenade. The attendant's voice got crowd out of their stupor, and they looked at the new unveiled product. There is a spherical metallic object in the size of a baseball on the podium. The attendant took the sphere in his hands and held it in his 2 hands. He rotated the one hemisphere of the sphere and threw it at the tower. The audience couldn't see, but when the hemisphere is rotated, the upper half was filled with holes, and when it landed, a smoke started spreading out of it, and surrounded the roaring tiger, which limped out of the trap zone, calmed down, and it was so overly calmed down that it almost fell asleep. The crowd was surprised again. They are looking at the dizzy tiger, which is only slowly walking like an old man. How did that work? A metal piece of that size can work as well. What is that smoke that made that calm and sleepy? That trap and this grenade are perfect match. Yeah, when we tried to feed the sleeping drug, the beast will always sense it one way or another. Normal anesthetics shot with arrows have little effect. If we use poison, the flesh will be damaged. This common grenade is a perfect thing to catch the beasts off guard, and if we play our cards right, we can even catch the beast alive. Just as the attendant was about to reveal the third product, Sam gestured him to stop and said, "No need to test the remaining items on the beast. Use a dummy." After that, he didn't care about their reply and went to the tiger. He took off the metal jaws and let it rest for now. He took out a pill from his storage, which he got from the black pond, and fed it to the tiger. Even though he is cold and heartless, he really didn't want to torture a beast without any grudge just to advertise his products. He didn't want to use them in the first place, but the trap and common grenade can only be used on the live beast, otherwise their effects won't be known to the audience. The attendant looked at Chaya, and when he got her approval, he and some other attendants brought some wooden dummies. Our third product is called pin grenade. The attendant revealed the third product, and he took the spherical ball, which has a lot of sharp protrusions, in his hand, and just like the common grenade, he twisted it and threw it between the bunch of wooden dummies. A small explosion sound came from the sphere, and numerous thin and sharp needles were ejected from the grenade and pierced into the bodies of the dummies. Again, the audience started speaking. If we use this on beast packs, this would be super effective. Yeah, it can be even used in gang fights. Damn it, I am not surprised anymore. The products are really good. I am going to buy all of them. As crowd went on with their talk, the attendant announced our fourth and final product. The invention which gave Artisan Sam to get the rank 5 promotion. Our shop's most valuable item. I request someone from audience to come and test it. The audience hyped up. This is definitely the main product of the ceremony. The young man who sat beside the Marquis came forward. His looks have some similarities to Marquis, and he is the second son of the Marquis, Luther. He came to Sam and extended his hand. "Nice to meet you, Artisan Sam," he said with a smile. His face has a serene smile. Sam shook his hand and said, "Nice to meet you too. Please do take a look at the product." Sam gestured him towards the energy cell arm guard with neutral energy, which was just unveiled. All the experts in the great realm and above are looking at the energy cell keenly. Luther wore the arm guard, and the attendant slowly whispered what the 2 functions are. Luther gave a shocked expression as he looked at Sam with bewilderment. He calmed himself and started the demonstration. He extracted the spiritual energy and threw a fireball at one of the wooden dummies. The audience were confused. What is the speciality of the product? Yeah, isn't it just a normal fireball? What does it have anything to do with the product? Maybe it didn't work. I think so too. But the experts were shocked as they watched Luther absorb the energy from the cell directly. They sensed the energy flow from the energy cell when he used it, and immediately understood what the function is. How did he do it? Damn, this is a very great invention. Yeah, I will definitely buy one for my son. Even though the amount is very small for me to use, it is very useful to my son. I am going to buy more. The normal audience only grew even more confused. What does it do exactly? Yeah, I didn't understand either. Sam coughed loudly as he stopped the chatters and turned towards Luther. Maybe our guest can explain the uses. Luther nodded and addressed the crowd. When he explained how to use it and what uses it have, the crowd was about to become rowdy. But Chaya interrupted them. Our special product will only be sold once a week, and only has 30 pieces. And out of 30 of them, 10 of them are fire elemental, 10 of them of wind elemental, and the remaining are neutral. The neutral one will be sold for 5,000 spirit stones, and the elemental ones will be sold for 5 times the price. The shop will be open on today, and all the products along with normal ranked weapons forged by the artisans of our artisan tower are going to be sold there. Please, do visit and support us. Thank you. The audience immediately got up from their seats and ran outside. They want to be the first ones to get the products and are afraid that all of them will be over. All the attendants left to help at the shop, and soon, only around 10 people were left in the stadium, and all of them cautiously approached Sam. They are from the noble families and want to get the energy cells through back door, and some even asked if they could get a bulk order. But Sam refused adamantly, and they can only leave dejectedly. Marquis looked at Sam and his son Zeke, who was beside him with a complicated gaze. He was certain his son is going to suffer a massive defeat this time. After the shop opening, the stock on the shelves was completely emptied. Even though they produced a lot, Sam didn't allow to keep all of them on the shelves. If the products are too many, the price will become lower. So, he strictly regulated the flow of all the products. These 15 days, he taught the assembly process to the workers from the artisan tower. But the energy cells can only be made by him. He had already manufactured them in bulk. There are more than 500 of each type with him. After all, he just had to construct the energy veins and the positioning on the energy cores. The rest of the charging of energy will be done by the formation in the tower. So, he can relax for the time being, and the business will be good. Chaya is even more excited than him. The stock of weapons from the artisan tower are also sold out completely. She really felt glad that she decided to work with Sam. The evening of that day, Chaya and Sam just discussed about the sales of the shop when she asked something. I heard from the artisans that you are opening a restaurant. I wanted to ask about it earlier but forgot. Do you have a chef? No, I need to find one. Great, I have someone who is really skilled. Do you want to consider him? Oh, who is that? If their skill is really up to par, I won't mind. He is son of an attendant of Artisan Tower. He used to have a restaurant in front of Zeke's restaurant. When Zeke's restaurant opened, his business isn't that much affected. But that Zeke used some underhanded means to make him lose his business. I haven't known earlier. By the time I have known this, everything is over. I wanted to help him, but he rejected it directly. Can I trust him? Sam asked. For him, trust is more important than skill. Skills can be cultivated through time and practice, but trust is a matter of character, and a person's character isn't that easy to cultivate. Of course, I can vouch for him. Sure, introduce him to me tomorrow. The next day, Chaya came to Sam's mansion with a young man in his early 20s. Sam, this is the person I told you about earlier. He is Mackie, a chef. Sam shook Mackie's hand as he sized him up. Mackie is an ordinary-looking man and he has a lean figure. Most of all, he is level 1 novice just like Sam. Are you a mage? Sam asked when Mackie and lit a flame at the tip of his fingers. His flames are orange in color and density of flames is high. Chai recommended you to this job. So, I won't ask much. I need to see your skill. There are already ingredients placed in the kitchen, so make your best meal. Sam said as he pointed at the kitchen. Mackie nodded and went to the kitchen. Both Chaya and Sam sat at the table and made some small talk. After more than an hour, Mackie came back with 4 plates in his hands. There are 4 types of dishes, and each of them are piping hot. Sam was very satisfied with look and fragrance. When he tasted them, he was even more impressed by the taste. The texture of meat and the consistency of the flavor. Usage of the herbs along with the meat was completely complementary and elevated the taste to a new level. Sam felt that this is the best meal he had since he came to this world. After enjoying the dishes, he looked at Mackie and said, I am really impressed by your cooking. Take this book and practice the recipes. I will hire a team of people to work with you. But these recipes should not be leaked. Sam passed a book which he prepared beforehand. These are some of the recipes from the Spirit Culinary. Even though these are lowest level recipes and doesn't give much improvement compared to other recipes, he didn't want to let these recipes go to others' hands. Mackie nodded and took the book. I have a request. He spoke in a low voice. What would that be? Sam asked. I will bring back my old team. Many of them are still jobless. Is it possible? Sure. But the secrecy of the recipes will be your responsibility. Thank you so much. Mackie thanked him and went back to the kitchen and opened the book. He doesn't talk much, I hope you understand. Chaya said. Not a problem. Aren't you curious? Chaya asked. What do you mean? Even though novice at 20 isn't as good as your cultivation, he can still be considered a genius. Do you not want to know why he is settling to be a chef? At this moment Sam looked at her and said, "As far as I'm concerned, all the professions are same. A person's worth is not decided by what they do, instead it is decided by how good or at what they're doing." He paused before continuing. "If I am a guy who is curious about anything, I would have been more curious about you. A person who can surpass Grand Realm at the age of 28 to 29 isn't someone ordinary as well. Then why would you be settling as a tower head in the Marquis City?" "But, I didn't ask, right?" He smiled and just sat there silently. There is still 15 days to the academy and he was almost done with his business things. There are only 2 things left to deal with. One of them is source of food, and another thing is alcohol. Alcohol can still wait because he is quite confident in the recipes, and their taste will be enough to gather enough customer. After some pondering, he got an idea and immediately said to Chaya, who was in some deep thought, "I need you to do something for me." "What is it?" "I want you to prepare some special tokens. Make a deal with the customers at the shop. Those who sell their hunts to us can get this token, and they can get 5% discount on the special products. The offer is only valid for the traps and the grenades though. We will buy the hunts at the market price." "Okay," Chaya said and went back to her own thoughts. The recipes which Sam gave to Maki are of the herbs and beasts that are available near the area. He did his research and prepared them. If he went to look for a middleman who buys the hunts and then sell them to the restaurants, he would have to pay some high price. Now that he can get them from the people themselves, the 5% discount isn't that much of a high price to pay, compared to the price he has to pay for the mediators. After sorting this out, the restaurant can be opened as soon as Maki mastered the recipes. So, he stayed in the mansion itself and Choi left. Sam went to the yard where Watt and Falk are training. Watt stopped his training and went to Sam. "Watt, I want you to do something for me." "Yes, boss." "Tell me, do you still remember that there are still 16 members remaining in the Zeke's lackeys?" "Yes, boss. From today onwards, they are your targets. Right now, you are at middle stage acolyte, and they are near middle stage novice. I will give you 6 months of time. Not only you need to catch up to them, you also need to beat them. I don't care if you will do sneak attacks, one-on-one or even take them on at the same time. But I want you to make them suffer. This is a form of training to you. Take this." Sam said and gave him a rectangular metal box. Watt opened it and saw 2 packs of metallic cards in it, along with a pair of daggers. They are all made of rank 2 materials. Watt looked at the pack of cards and couldn't help but feel satisfied. This means the Sam is satisfied with his style. He picked a which has very sharp edges and threw it. He tore through the air and pierced into the tree trunk. It didn't stop there, and went through it before getting struck in the wall. He improved a lot since the last time. These are only temporary weapons. If you finish this mission, I will reward you with one of the best set of weapons." Sam said and left the place. Watt immediately became delighted and went to train. Sam went back to Maki and handed him another scroll. "These are recipes which you also need to master. But they aren't for the restaurant, they are only for our personal consumption. Send a portion of each to the mansion for every meal time. After the academy is open, I will inform where to send. Don't mix up mine and Watt's dishes. If you perform well, you can have this as well. As for the pay, you and your team will get 20% of earnings." After Maki nodded, Sam went back to his room to cultivate his soul. Yamu and Sky are cultivating, and he is determined to increase his level of mental power with divine spirit soul cultivation. By the time the academy opens, he wants to achieve level 3 novice stage. This month, he wasn't able to cultivate at all, but Yamu and Sky are completely concentrated on that area. Before this month, along with the help of 2 of them and the special dishes that Maki will make will definitely help him reach the desired level. Within 3 days, Maki mastered the recipes. He is a very great chef that he was even able to master the special recipes Sam gave him separately. And the 4th day, the restaurant was opened grandly and again the big shots were invited to it. This time, as there is a limited space in the restaurant, only the high-level people were invited for a free banquet. The restaurant, which was built by combining 3 normal restaurants, is the biggest in the city. But the number of people that could fit in it are at most double the normal restaurant. They have 10 tables in the open area, and there are 10 private rooms. The seating capacity of the smallest room is 4, while the largest is 10 people. There is another floor on top of this, and there is the banquet hall which needs to be booked in advance. The restaurant was instantly popular, and the customer flow for the surrounding restaurants immediately took a great amount of damage. Zeke could only sigh and do nothing. Even though his restaurant didn't lose all the customers immediately, with time, he could foresee the losses he would gain. And how did he know this? Because Sam specially sent an invitation to him and he couldn't control himself and came here to eat. When he tasted the dishes, even he himself didn't want to eat in his restaurant anymore. Now, Sam is completely relieved of everything, and all needs to do is to wait for the academy to open. The day before the opening of the special branch, Sam is in his mansion sitting along with Chaya. He passed a storage ring and said, These energy cells will be sufficient for the supply for more than a year. Tomorrow, I will be joining the academy. I don't know when I will be able to contact you. So, I prepared them. Chari took the spatial ring and said, "Do you know the news?" Marquis invited the candidates from the 2 cities threatened by Zeke. But, some of them still refused to come, and Zeke was able to get the slot. His lackeys, though, not very lucky. I don't know. I was busy to care about those things. Sam has completely concentrated on his cultivation of spirit and soul, and made energy cells whenever he is stressed. Yesterday, Yamu and Sky shared the energy, and his cultivation immediately rose to the novice level 3. His speed was just too fast. He just turned 15 few months ago. He is advancing very fast. But this time, he will be encountering a bottleneck. But this bottleneck isn't as difficult as others. They have to get in alignment, but Sam's cultivation is mostly breaking a barrier forcefully just like beasts. But the higher his cultivation, the more energy he requires, and the stronger the barrier is. Advancing from novice level 3 and novice level 4 is stepping from initial stage novice to middle stage. The barrier is strong and he needs more time to break through. Char left after some small talk. Sam didn't know if people from the Falcon Cliff City are here yet. He completely threw all thoughts and responsibilities out of his mind and went to his room. He is going to laze around for this whole day. Even though he has experienced all kinds of cruel circumstances in his past life, and lived in a worse place one could stay, that only made him cherish his vanity for these luxuries more and more. That is the reason he never compromised on the place he stayed in any city. He used a very rare precious metal like silver meteorite sand and black meteorite sand to make a hoverboard. Even though it has some perks to do battle, the main reason is that he didn't want to walk these long distances in city. Even if his task is reaching the peak and to meet Ling Tian, he will never ever sacrifice the comforts he earned. He will drown and sail in his vanity and enjoy his life to the best of his ability, and his enjoyment lies in the comfort he gained with his efforts. So, this whole day, Sam went to swim in his lake, took a sun bath in his yard, ate all kinds of street food he could get his hands on. Finally, he had a best sleep in his comfortable bed. The next morning, Sam went to the academy's own very early. The ordinary folk aren't allowed here at all like previous times in Falcon Cliff City and Starwood City. He saw a lot of people were there. There are 10 counts under the marquee, and a total of 100 participants were selected from all of them. The Marquee City selected 20 people, so a total 120 candidates will be participating in this special branch. Sam came to the gate and found the people from the Falcon Cliff City. When he went there, everyone greeted him with enthusiasm. Of course, the weird trio is an exception. After some small talk, Philip asked, "So, what did you do in this month? Did you get your hands on that guy?" Philip is Philip after all. Even getting back at Marquis' son is a fun thing for him. Well, I planned a lot for him. Maybe, he is cursing my 18 generations as we speak. Sam said as he smiled. Until now, his plan is pretty much success. Oh, what did you do? Tell me the details. Philip's interest piqued. He really didn't understand why Sam came a month earlier, and that too when his cultivation isn't up to par. Being nosy is his nature and now his curiosity is all-time high. Nothing much, I just trimmed his tail which made him so proud a little bit, and he is now hiding it between his legs. He replied clearly not wanting to elaborate and, in an attempt to change the topic, he asked Hawk, "Why are there no representatives from the Count Mansion or Falcon Cliff Academy?" He noticed that there are no representatives for other groups as well. This is the order from the Marquis. Yesterday, my father came along with us, and Marquis immediately sent him back the very night itself. Not only him, every representative was sent away. They weren't even allowed to stay within the city. Hawk replied. Sam just nodded and didn't say anything. He started looking at the rest of the candidates. He saw all kinds of people in the bunch. The excited guys, the nervous one, the arrogant guy, self-assumed leader. He could see all kinds of candidates. His gaze finally landed on the Marquee City group. There are 21 people, and the extra one is Zeke who got lucky. Even though Sam didn't expect that Marquee will bring back the people from the 2 cities, he is glad that Zeke could still make it. He has something else planned for Zeke inside the academy. The only thing that Zeke could be proud of was that his access to superior resources and his superior strength to Sam. Sam wants to remove that feeling also. He is going to show him that these two will only last so long, and he planned to completely crush his will. By the time he was done with the guy, he will feel so depressed that even if he saw a spoonful of water, he will consider diving in it to commit suicide. Besides Zeke, Sam saw 2 other people, and one of them is Luther the second son of Marquis who he already met, and the third person is someone who he is not familiar with. But he could easily guess his identity as the nose which is touching the sky and eyes climbing over to his head gave him away. That arrogance and pride can only be possessed by one person, and that one person is none other than the third son of the Marquis, the inheritor of Blue Flame. Sam didn't linger his gaze on him and looked at another familiar face. The lady waved her hand as she saw him. He returned the gesture. She is none other than Jasmine Violet Yu. He had already made a deal and it wouldn't hurt him if he was a little bit nicer to her. And the main reason is that Sam didn't want to pollute Jasmine's pure mind with his cynic nature. In his previous life, there are many sleepless nights he spent thinking that he could be as pure as her. Avoid all the darkness he saw in the society, he just wanted to be a pure-hearted common person. But the cold harsh reality didn't give him a chance and pushed him to the point of no return. Even though he couldn't guarantee that she will never change and she could keep her pure heart, Sam didn't want to be the person who is responsible for that. He would do his best to ensure that she would remain sane until his mission is completed. A few minutes later, the gate of the Academy's own opened and all the 120 members entered it at the same time. Just as Sam thought, the Academy's own itself is like a self-sustained city. He saw the lanes, houses, restaurants, shops, everything run by the people wearing same type of uniform. An elder guided all of them to a place which seemed like the outskirts of the city where there is a very huge wall. The huge wall is as tall as the city wall of the Blue Flame City. It is more than 2,000 meters tall. For that wall there is a huge metal door. Marquis and another middle-aged man were both standing in front of the door looking at the coming students. There are some more elders of the academy standing behind them. Even though starting the special branch is a grand event, the people who attended it are very few. There are not even any special guests in grand ceremony. Sam observed the wall and the door as he waited for the Marquis and others to speak. And soon he did. Welcome everyone. Today is the day you are waiting for. The special branch is going to start. I don't want to waste your time with small talk. But before we go in, keep all your weapons, armors, articrafts, everything in your spatial ring, and please be quick. Everyone was puzzled when they heard his words and they exchanged glances. Sam took off his feather coat and placed it inside the spatial ring. Everyone took off their armors and weapons they held in their hands and threw them inside the storage rings. After making sure that everyone did as they were told, Marquis gestured and the huge door opened. Everyone, please enter. They entered the door. Marquis or any other elder followed them. When they entered the door, what they saw shook them completely. The whole place stank of odor. The ground is devoid of grass. The land is covered with trees, but the area isn't densely packed with them. Sam could see hundreds of meters of the area, and it is just like that. The other side is covered by the same kind of tall wall as it was near the entrance. The spoiled nobles are clearly bothered with it. But before they could express their dissatisfaction, the door closed behind them, and a loud majestic voice was heard from the horizons. I am the principal of the Blue Flame Academy. I will be announcing the rules you have to follow. From this day onwards for other 6 months, you will be staying here, and these rules will dictate how you are going to stay. 1. From this day onwards until the end of 6 months, you will not be having any access to the outside world. 2. From today onwards, you have no access to your spatial devices. If you don't believe me, you can give it a try. 3. You will not have any spiritual energy. You must have noticed that the spiritual energy around you is negligible. You will not be able to use your spiritual stones as well. 4. The food provided is the only way for you to obtain the spiritual energy. 5. Last and the most important rule of all, whatever your status is outside, it is nothing for these 6 months. And anything can happen inside. The test is that you will have to survive until the end, and any change of circumstances will be announced. Now, the special branch shall commence. When the candidates heard these rules, their faces became black, just as they were about to complain. Smack. A loud smack was heard, and the principal's voice, which gave a majestic feel, immediately took a 180-degree turn. You, old bugger, just because you are Marquis, don't think I won't beat you to death. How dare you smack me? The candidates were immediately floored. Particularly the 20 people who are from the Marquis city. Some of them are previously students of this academy, and they saw principal many times. But all those times, they only knew the dignified leader of the academy. Never did they expect that he would be swearing the Marquis like this. Marquis's voice interrupted their thoughts. You, old fool. I wish I could really beat you to death. Can't you say the rules properly? Let me tell them. I will deal with you later. After a brief pause, he addressed the candidates. Everyone, the rules stated by the principal are all correct, except the rule about your spiritual energy. I will make it clear to you. Your cultivations will not be sealed, and you can use your spiritual energy, but in order to restore the energy and recover, you don't have any access to spiritual energy sources. The environment around you doesn't have spiritual energy dense enough to allow you to absorb and cultivate. Your access to the spatial storage items is also gone, and you won't be getting any spiritual stones from us. The only way you can restore your energy is from the food we are going to send you. Other than that, we will be giving you some missions, and the ones who will achieve the best score will be rewarded. So, until the next announcement, take care of yourselves. As your principal said, anything can happen inside those walls and you can do anything. Your life is in your own hands regarding the status you have outside, and you will have to be responsible for your actions. Nobody from outside is going to interfere, no matter what happens. Those who aren't able to take it anymore and want to give up come to the main door and shout out that you want to surrender. After that statement, everything went silent, and after that brief silence, the candidates started to chatter. Some of them are confused, some of them are looking forward to it, and some of them are feeling vexed that their cultivation isn't going to improve. Sam probed to access his normal spatial ring, and he wasn't able to access it. When he tried to do same thing to the divine dimension, he was able to see and communicate with Yanwu and Sky inside it, but wasn't able to get anything out of it. But he still has one advantage over others, and that is, his cultivation improvement isn't going to stagnate. Sky and Yanwu will cultivate for him, and who knows, maybe by the end of 6 months, if he can meet them, he will even reach the novice level 6. After some thought, he felt that it is useless to worry about it, and started observing the surroundings. The ground isn't that damp, in fact it is a bit on the dry side, and the trees are also not that dense in this land. There are a lot of open spaces within this area. There are no residences, no trees which have edible fruits, not even a single beast could be seen. Even the trees are a bit unusual. They only have leaves, and the wood seemed to be strong. Sam went to one of the trees nearby and scr.ap'd some bark. The bark isn't hard and tough, it is smooth and more like skin of bamboo. It has slight moisture content. He observed the wood, which is hard and dark brown in color. He wasn't able to recognize the trees. While Sam is looking at the tree, members of the Falcon Cliff City are also doing the same, except for Philip and Jack. They are waiting for Sam to say something. They knew that they are slightly vulnerable in a new environment, so they aren't trying to do anything that they don't know. Sam is very good at this, since their relationship isn't that bad, they aren't ashamed of getting his help. The rest of the members are trying to do something, some of them are trying to communicate with the people from other cities, some of them are checking the surroundings, and some of them are still hung up on that vexed feeling because of the rules. After checking around, Sam started walking. First thing he did is get out of the crowd and went to look around the area. He walked slowly as he looked around, seriously observing everything. Philip and Jack followed him hurriedly. Soon, they found something. They saw a stream which is more than 10 meters wide flowing near the wall. Sam looked around and came to a conclusion. The area they are in is rectangular in shape and surrounded by the tall walls, completely isolating them from the outside. The only connection to the outside world is the stream which is flowing from one side of the rectangle to the opposite side. And even the stream didn't have any fish or other animals. Sam took a sip of water, and after confirming that they are normal and drinkable, he sighed. He suddenly felt glad that he enjoyed himself yesterday. Sam, what do you think we should do? Philip asked. Sam looked at both of them as if asking, are you planning on following me blindly? Jack felt a little shy, but wasn't completely ashamed as he felt that admitting what he doesn't know and asking for help isn't a bad thing. But Philip isn't least bit shy, and in fact his face was proud as if saying, isn't it obvious? Suddenly, Jack felt that he shouldn't have told Philip about how good Sam was in that wilderness test of the Falcon Cliff City. Sam didn't know what to say when he looked at Philip's expression and resigned himself to explain. I don't think the test is as simple as they said. The main point isn't even following the rules but the missions. Particularly the statement, anything can happen, is giving me a bad feel. The main thing is that we have to frugal about the spiritual energy. So, we can't stay openly and need a proper place to rest to have enough energy. So, the first thing is we need to find a place to stay. And we have to wait for the food they're going to send. Even though, with our cultivation we can stay without food, we can at most stay for a week or so at our level, and it will cost spiritual energy. We will think what to do after we are done with these two things. Okay, then where are we going to stay? Philip asked. We will decide, but the resources we can gather. Even though he can make a camp with resources of the wilderness, Sam couldn't find any of them here. The trees here are only suppliers of the wood, but there are no vines or any other things suitable to make long ropes. Even though the bark is a little on the soft side, it isn't easy to make a rope out of that. To have a camp, he needs to see if he can gather any more teammates. So, 3 of them went back to the crowd, who were now sitting down and talking with smiles. The people from the Falcon Cliff City all sat together, and when Sam and the duo following him went there, the weird trio were sitting separately, seemingly not interested in joining their conversation. What are your plans? Sam asked Hawk and others. Hawk looked at Sam and said, I don't know. I think we can wait for the mission first and see what type of missions there will be. After that we will plan on what to do. Even before Sam could reply, Philip said, we want to make a camp and have a place to stay and rest. Anyone wants to join us? He is pretty straightforward. The rest of them looked at them and then exchanged glances. Cully is the first one to agree. I don't mind. After some thought, Hawk said, sure. But where do you want to camp? The rest of them also agreed. We found a stream nearby, so we can find a place near it to make a camp. Again, Philip took it up on himself to say. So, even without his effort, Sam now has 6 teammates. Just as they were about to move, Sam felt someone tugging his vest. He turned around to look at Jasmine's innocent face. "Where did you go?" she asked. From her tone, she must have been looking for him. "Nowhere, come follow us," Sam said, and now he has 7 teammates. Soon, they came near the stream. But Sam didn't let them camp too near, and moved them 50 meters away from the stream. There is a considerable area of open space surrounded by trees in this place. Sam looked at the crowd and said, "Since we are on the same boat, I will tell you how I feel about this competition," and explained his opinion just like how he did with Philip and Jack. After letting them digest the info properly and giving them a chance to contemplate, he said, "Even though you guys might think that it will waste your spiritual energy to make a camp, and you will be having some hard time in missions. But in long term, I think it is necessary to have a place to rest properly." After some though, everyone agreed and Sam asked, "Okay then, I need to know your abilities to be more efficient. One by one tell me your abilities." "I am wind and water dual elemental mage," Hawk said first. "I am earth and fire dual elemental mage." Cully gave a surprise to everyone. Because nobody knew that she is a dual elemental mage at all. Sam felt even more weird. He has been meeting this dual elemental mages and warrior mages too often, considering that they are supposed to be rare. "I am a warrior, swordsman. I am also a warrior, saber wielder," Drew and Ray said. Sam didn't ask Philip and Jack since he already knew his abilities. Finally, he looked at Jasmine, who was silent all along. "I am metal element mage." Sam nodded. Metal element mages have slight disadvantage as most of their attacks are close range, and many of them use weapons. They're more like warriors. The metal element is one of less versatile elements. He thought for a moment and said, "Kelly, Hawk, both of you are responsible for making shelter. Since the soil is dry, it will be hard to mold it, so Hawk, you will use your water element to make it gain some moisture, just enough to mold it. Kelly, use your earth element and raise walls using these 7 trees as corners. Don't worry about the roof. It will take a lot of energy from both of you if you do it." Both of them nodded and went to work. Sam took the remaining people along with him. He started cutting down the truss one by one, and split them along vertically. All this time he used his wind element. Since his control is high, he used minimum energy to make maximum work. Soon, the remaining guys came while carrying the wood to keep them as room. Finally, Sam took a large bunch of leaves and covered the gap along with them. To finish the roof of the house. The small mud house has 8 small rooms, and there is a circular common place for everyone to sit together. The rooms aren't big. Just enough to fit 2 large people. If 2 people lay on the floor, the room will be full. Since everyone has a room for them individually, it would be sufficient. By the time they were done, they observed that the other people in the crowd are also moving around, and they are also building the houses. But they were not like Sam and others. They started building big and comfortable rooms, and more than 1/3 of the area of the rectangular zone is occupied with the houses. They didn't care about the spiritual energy as they have one thought in mind. They thought that they will be provided with the food, and they don't have to worry about it. By the time everyone settled down, it is already evening. Sam suggested that they go to sleep early, and just as they were about to go to sleep, someone came to their place, and all of them are from the Blue Flame City members. There are 4 people who came and all of them have haughty looks, clearly indicating that they are from the noble families. "Jasmine, why are you staying with them? You can come and stay with us," one of them said, completely ignoring the remaining members. Jasmine didn't talk to them and just walked inside and went to her room. Her master said to listen to whatever Sam said, and since Sam said that they need to sleep, she didn't want to waste any time and went inside. Just as they were about to enter, Sam blocked them and said, "You aren't allowed to enter. If you want to talk to her, you can do so when she comes out. Then call her out," one of them said impatiently. "And why do you think I would do that?" Sam said a bit coldly. Just that guy in lead was about to retort, one of the guys whispered something, and 4 of them stopped in their tracks and left without speaking anything. Sam didn't care much and went to sleep. The next day all of them didn't see any changes at all. There is no sign of the food that was supposed to be sent in, and there is no sign of any mission. They just spend time idling around, since they can't even cultivate. Days passed, and they didn't do anything. They started to feel tired, and Sam's team is the only thing that is faring better. Even the weird trio who used wood to make a small cabin are having a better time as they tried to make it as humble as possible. The remaining teams started to feel the tiredness as they spent the most energy in making the camps. On 5th day afternoon, they saw a bunch of bird-type beasts flying over the field. Everyone came out as they looked at them. The bird-type beasts lowered their altitude, and each of them dropped a package. All of them are puzzled and moved to catch them. "Everyone, try to catch one. Don't go for extra package. Catch only 1 parcel. If you cannot catch one, immediately ask nearest team member for help." Sam said and immediately moved. The rest of the team also started spreading. When the packages reached a certain height, the speed of the falling slowed down. Sam climbed a tree and leapt towards the sky. He reached onto one of the packages and landed. Everyone is trying their best to get one. Sam looked around, and as he saw that Jasmine and Cully are having trouble to get one, he immediately caught other two. The wind element really came in handy this time. The other team's wind elementals mages aren't idling either, they are also doing their best to catch more. After everyone caught one, they came back to their camp. Sam and his teammates sat down and opened the packages. All they could see is some kind of boiled meat paste. But they could feel one thing. It is filled with spiritual energy. Dig in as fast as you can. Don't even think about saving up. There will be a commotion soon. And they didn't need him to say that as they ate in rapid pace as they felt hunger and tiredness due to lack of spiritual energy. After using their energy to catch the packages, they were only left with the last bit of spiritual energy. If any person, even an acolyte in late stage, comes back, they would be able to take one of them down. When they are halfway through their meal, they could already feel their body's spiritual energy replenishing. But at the same time, they could hear a large commotion outside. When they wanted to go out, Sam said, "Finish your food first." They didn't understand why he insisted, but they just followed and completed their food. After that, they just left the containers there and immediately went outside. "Hey, did you find any packages that are dropped away?" "No, there are no packages. Seems like all of them are caught. What should we do now?" "Someone might have caught extra packages." "How could our packages be missing?" As soon as Hawk and others came outside, they heard a bunch of people discussing this. Hearing this, they also felt puzzled. They also thought that someone might have taken extra packages, and felt that it is unnecessary as one package is enough to fill their spiritual core. They even felt that it is a bit more than they needed. There is a deficit of packages. They only sent 100 of them. When Sam said this, they immediately got shocked. "You guys might not have concentrated as you are fully focused on the packages, but I counted the number of birds. They even send them in 10 rows, and each row has 10 birds. That is why I asked you guys to catch one immediately." By the time Sam finished, there is already a fight between some people. Those who didn't get any box started attacking some people who hadn't started eating yet. The people who used built the houses were the ones that aren't able to catch anything, and there are 12 people. The remaining 8 people are the ones who delayed. Many people still haven't eaten yet, and these 20 people started wreaking havoc. Even though their spiritual energies are low, the people who caught the packages didn't have much energy left as well. They are in the same level now, and those who didn't eat yet became the targets. Now Sam's teammates understood why Sam asked them to eat faster. If not, they might have been the targets for this fight. As time passed, the fight grew intense. And finally, all of them came to truce and shared the food, and that is not enough. But at least they were able to get half of the spiritual energy. Sam looked around and saw a few people observing the situation calmly. One of them is Luther. Sam knew why they look like that, because they are also the ones who moved as fast as him to get the packages. They also must have counted the birds. Only these few felt that the situation is odd, and the first ones to find that out. Sam's initial guess was right. The test here is not as simple as it sounded. Even before they got the first mission, they were already having trouble and internal fights. That night, not only Sam's teammates, a lot of people weren't able to rest at all. They already got some inkling of the situation, and they knew that this special branch isn't what they imagined at all. They got really nervous. They didn't know what will happen tomorrow. The next day nothing happened, but this made them even more uneasy. They felt like they were on pins and needles. On the 7th day, they finally saw what is coming. A majestic voice announced their first mission. "Attention all candidates, your first mission had been decided. A total of 10 tokens have been sent into the special branch zone by using 10 beasts. The candidates have 3 days to catch the beasts. The 10 token holders at the night of the 3rd day will have the right to choose who can get the next meal. Each token holder can choose other 9 people, and a total of 100 people will be getting the meal. The remaining 20 people will not be served with any meals. From this moment onwards, the first mission starts." As soon as the voice ended, everyone became alert and started moving. They never expected the first mission will be suddenly announced, and they only have 100 spots for food. The remaining 20 people has to suffer, and nobody has absolute trust in the people they were with. The first meals sent by the bird type's beasts made them suspect everyone, and they don't want to place the trust on other people. If they could get the token themselves, then only they would be guaranteed with a meal.